You know, for a while I was thinking about putting up something on this channel. I was trying to figure out what I could put up here that could make sense of things. Yeah. I was thinking of some channel I wanted to do, or some big production I wanted to have on this, and get people wanting to watch it. But as I browsed through Facebook to look through my friends list, see who could help me with such things, I guess funding and cameras and all that other crap, I came across an article that really it hit me, and it kind of hurt. It was about the fact that we don't feed the homeless. There's a law apparently across the United States, all 50 states, that you cannot feed the homeless, or else you'll be arrested. Within that article, I also found a letter written from an angry mom to a woman with an autistic child who bashed the mother about the fact that of the child's very existence, and just told her to sell the kid and put her in science and horrible, horrible things. I feel silly trying to talk to a camera about this. I feel silly trying to talk to anyone half the time, but frankly, I don't know what to say. I've lived in this country for about all my life. I've never left. I've never went to any other country. So I don't, and I only have basis of what I find on the internet and what I see on the news to compare. So what I found was this. Since I guess I was around 10 when the events of September 11th happened, so they weren't really that fresh in my mind. They were, I wasn't. I was more focused on trying to find my cartoons at the time. But I remember having this feeling that somewhere down the line, it just wouldn't be the same anymore. Oh, sadly, I was right. I didn't think I'd be sitting here. I'm amazed I'm sitting here, being that I've attempted to take my life a couple times, but I'm amazed at myself sitting here because of me having the will to live on. But after a while, I just don't. I'm having trouble trying to comprehend living in this country and being proud of it. I used to be proud to say I was an American. I really did. I was happy to be it. People fighting on the front lines that defend the very freedoms that we have. But today I had a, I just, I looked at a lot of things I was doing, and I looked at a lot of things that I saw happening everywhere. And everywhere I looked, it's very morbid. And coming from a guy who's very, very morbid himself, who's talked about suicide and horrible, horrible things going on in this little cranium here, death and all that crap. Well, I don't know. It sounds pretty. That's pretty bad. If a guy who's already had to think of all types of horrible things in his head call something he sees in the world or something he sees on or something he sees happening, I guess, in the current events morbid. It's that's something, I'm guessing. I guess it says something at least. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, to be honest. I don't know why I'm so proud to be proud of this country that has obviously let itself go. I mean, we've become such a destructive influence that the country that we share a border with, Mexico, is now surpassing us as the fattest country on the planet. Simply because we're fat bastards ourselves. I don't speak for myself, obviously, but, but if we have that much influence on the world that we can turn a country right next to us fatter than us, I don't know. If we're so crazy enough to bomb other countries without ever thinking of the collateral damage, or even considering the fact that, well, we could bomb a place looking for these terrorists and not once think of the fact that there may be kids playing around there and shit. Or not once think of the fact that there would be innocents just getting killed. That we can go and intervene in the country that obviously requires some sort of assistance, but frankly it should be handled by a group of nations rather than just one. I mean, we used to fucking in movies and shit. The funny enough is in the older James Bond films they used to talk shit on British being the police of the world. Irony. We succeeded from them in order to make our own empire and make ourselves great and be a free nation. Tables have turned, apparently. I used to be proud to be an American, but I don't know what happened to this country. I really have to ask myself what happened to this place to make it just... Usually you have the freedom, if I remember correctly, I was just growing up with the belief that you could do whatever you want. You could do whatever you want in this country. You had the keys to your kingdom. You were the future. They always shove that message down our throats. Children are our future. And in the majority of stuff that I've seen, yeah, I would have to agree with a Simpsons episode where Lisa was president, you remember where Mills was talking about, remember when the children are our future, we did all that, we were putting all our money into that? Yeah, big mistake. After what's happened this past week, I can actually see why. We're more obsessed with a woman whose ass is flatter than the 2x4 piece of wood than we are with, well, America spying on us. I don't have the freedom or the comfort to sit in my own home and touch my penis. Because I'm afraid that the government's looking at me touching my penis, and that's creepy as hell. Ironic thing is I'm a filmmaker, so I'm surrounded by fucking cameras. Or an aspiring filmmaker. It's sad enough that the country is this bad that I have to literally choose between hopelessly pursuing my dream of making something wonderful for audiences to love and to view, and having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to pursue that dream, and only to find out that it doesn't matter how much, I'm still going to have to do some sort of, well, I had graduated from school once, and I had an associate's degree, and I figured I could at least get some sort of well-paying job, but unfortunately, unfortunately, school took up the majority of my time in all aspects, from grade school and college, so I couldn't really find a job, so I didn't really have much job experiences, and the job I did have didn't really pay me much. It was barely minimum wage. and I was on call, so they just called me up and I would go to work, and that's usually how it worked. But I didn't even get that much money. I got the most I got a month was like $80. I'm not making this video because I'm complaining about getting paid enough. I'm not making this video because of the fact that I have to go back to school in order to avoid going back to a town I really hate, and where my future would end up being some sort of working in some cheap coat, some sort of cheap labor place where I'd have to be paid a crap, where I get paid not that much money to endure having to deal with a whole bunch of stupidity and having to work 8 hours a day just to come home feeling more miserable than I already was living in that town. But to be perfectly honest, I don't know what. At this point, I can't see a difference between living in that town, living in this place, LA, living in any other place and thinking it'd be any different. It's still the same country, still the same problems, still the same madness. To this day, I'm having I'm having trouble trying to, I guess, I'm having trouble trying to find the pride in being from the United States of America when the United States of America is, well, I hate to say it, it's a piece of shit at this point. 10 years ago, you could say it was something. Even under Bush. Everyone wanted change from the president. Everyone wanted change when he was out of office, and we thought, well, let's try somebody who isn't Caucasian. Let's see how that goes. Yeah. Then again, it was either that or a former senator, a war hero, and a lady who honestly had a little bit more, who had more problems than Tina Fey could parody. Nice little joke, I guess. But I frankly can't. I guess what I'm trying to say is, what happened? What happened to this place? I just want to know what happened. What could have possibly happened to just cripple this country to the point where I can't even feel comfortable in my own apartment? Where 100 million people have to get welfare just to stay alive. Where we can't even feed people who don't even have that luxury of being in a house and being in an apartment or even a box. People are trying to drive the homeless away. You know, we did that. We drove a whole bunch of people. You know, this country's been famous for driving a whole bunch of people away from the country. Or a whole bunch of people away from, their homes. Hell. A good friend of mine is like, I guess, part of a culture that was driven out of their homes by the man who we celebrate by putting him on a $20 bill. I thought we had moved past that. I thought we had moved past a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't know. I'm having trouble trying to comprehend what kind of a place would do this. It's bothering me, and it keeps me up, and I can't. For the longest time, I've always wondered what was wrong with me. I've always wondered what was wrong with me, but after a while, I figured the problem wasn't just with me. It was with everything. It was with this country. It was with the presidency, the executive branch, the judicial branch, the legislative branch. All of it was just... I just don't know what to say. It's just, and yet to this day, I can hear people playing music as if everything's okay, as if everything is going to be perfectly fine. Like they say, oh no, it's like Scott, it's okay. It's okay for you to feel this way towards people. It's okay that things are happening. No, it's not okay. It's not. I just, I'm having a horrible. I'm having trouble trying to figure out why. Why? I mean, it's maddening. It could literally drive a person insane trying to figure out why in the hell does this country want to do this to people? Where our corporations are making so much money, yet our unemployment rate is at an all-time high. What kind of place would do this? And people can put all the blame on the government and one person and blame it's Obama's fault. No, it would have been better if Romney or Romney didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Blah blah blah. It's not just one person. It's not one person anymore. You used to could do that. You used to do that with all types of things, but it's not just one person anymore. It's everyone. We as a country have failed horribly. We turned Mexico fat, for God's sake. I was talking to someone the other day about the fact of about how much a Coke. She was talking about being in Europe, and Coke was being about a couple euros, and apparently that's like $15 for a Coke over in Europe. For a bottle, I don't even know if it was a bottle. I don't know how much. I don't even know how big of a bottle it was, but $15 for a single portion of Coca-Cola. That's how much value our dollar is worth at this point. I can't even fathom living. It really just irritates me to the point where I can't do anything. It just. And I guess that's why I'm making this, and that's just why I wanted to say it, is because I want to know. I personally want an answer. What kind of what kind of a civilization does this to people? Where we'll put the less fortunate out in the street and we just decide, oh, they don't need food. We need food more than they do. They've had their chance. Kick them out. Or oh, you know what? Oh, they're having trouble here. You know what? We should dominate the world. We have the ultimate power. We should go and just blow up everything. We just go and blow up everything and nuke it. It's drone strikes. No U.S. soldiers. We'll just fly over there. Boom, 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 boom. I just can't. What God would let someone do this? Whose God would let someone do this to good-natured people? On all of our money, it says, "In God we trust," but seriously, what God would allow this? Where we'd have more trouble trying to have a bunch of, where we have more trouble trying to get marriage equal for everyone than we do trying to bail out a bunch of companies that have failed in the stock market. What country would allow that? It just we would bail out a whole bunch of Fortune 500 companies before we even let people be happy in marrying whoever the fuck they want to marry. That makes no sense to me. Granted, I am straight. I believe love should be universal. Whether it be guys on guys, girls on girls, transgenders, I don't care. If I figured, I guess, weirdly enough, I guess To quote Peter Griffin from an episode of Family Guy, if gay people want to get married and be miserable like the rest of us, I say let them. That makes me funny because I know a few people who are married and slightly are miserable. I read an article about about a married couple who doesn't. I don't know if it was real or not, but it was a married couple who didn't have sex, and every time they would they have sex with each other, she would do something, and he would eat a potato in order to get themselves unaroused. But I stray from my point. But actually, that does kind of tie into my point. We have to basically become drones. We have to become robots. We have to become fucking zombies. We have to be puppets. I can't do it. If the only way I can contribute to society is by working a shitty 9 to 5 job that pays me barely $8 an hour, let alone $7.50, and that barely pays my rent, let alone my power bill. I'm not even going to put a dent in my rent. Then what? And it forcing me to go back to a school that has already robbed me of a whole bunch of shit. What country would allow this? I just want to know what happened. What pushed us to the point where we can't even be safe in our homes, where we can't even... I can't even see the point of living in this country anymore. I can't see the point of this country being any more functional now. I just don't know what to do. I feel like I'd have a better shot if I just hopped over the Pacific and went to Japan. I'd have a better shot at living the life I want to live if I just dipped out and went to another country. Granted, I love sushi, so I do love sushi and video games, and I've always wanted to ride a bullet train. Maybe trying to get that out in California for, I don't know, what, 10 years? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it is. But I feel like something is horribly wrong with this country. Horribly wrong to the point where I can't even think anymore. It just bothers me to the point where I have a mental block about anything else I try to do. Figure, what's the point? This country is literally circling the drain. What's the point? By the way, if you hear music in the background, that's not me. That's my neighbors. They don't stop fucking playing that shit. I should have made that point earlier, but they keep doing this. They pretend that everything's okay. I don't know why. Nothing's okay. Nothing's okay. There's no such thing as okay anymore in this damn country. There's no such thing. I guess I'll just wrap this up by saying, in what form of life do we really just stop giving a damn about the person next to us? At what point do we just stop giving a damn about collateral, when we start thinking of human life as collateral damage? At what point do we just start thinking that the most important things in our lives is something that is like the craziest new dance craze, or just... I mean, I can understand that if this country was better. I can understand that being like back in the 90s, if that, but why? What happened to make this place so... What happened to make this place so unlivable? Everyone used to want to come to America. Now everyone in America wants to run for the hills. As if they could. don't know. If you have the answer, I'd be happy to hear it, but I've been sitting here trying to think about it for several years. If you're any closer to that than I was, all the more power to you.